Okay, so welcome everybody to the next in our series of Israel's LGBT organizations explained. This week, I'm very happy to have Eyal and Maya here with us. They run the Tel Aviv University's LGBTQ group, and they're going to tell us all about the university and the group, a little bit about Achva as well. Just bring up my questions for a second. So welcome, thank you for joining us. First of all, can you tell us a little bit about the university, how old it is, how big it is, that kind of stuff?
So, hello to everybody and thank you for joining. The university is 64 years old, we just checked, and have 33,000 students every year. And it's known to be a very LGBT-friendly university. And I think the main reason for that is that it's part of the Tel Aviv city. And I can tell from my personal experience that the atmosphere there is very liberal. And there are many LGBT-related courses that students can take. And there's also a transgender professor at the university. So all of those things, I think, really support that feeling. Maya, would like to add?
There is also gender studies at Tel Aviv University, which is not in every university or college.
Nice one. All right, lovely. Thanks for that. Can you tell me, what are you guys studying? How long have you been at the university?
I'm studying medicine. This is my end of the 6th year. So starting from next year, I'll be at the hospitals. We do here a 7-year program, so I'll have 1 year of internship and then my residency. And I'm actually thinking about residency in LGBT community. It's like a fellowship that you take, but that's like the horizon as far as I see it. And actually being part of the LGBT group in the university, that was the reason I chose this path. At first I thought about cardiology because I work with a lot of cardiologists, but the experience here made me realize that this part of this community is something I care a lot about and I want to give back.
Wonderful, thanks very much. And Maya?
I study in the Lautman program, but I mostly study biology, and this semester I added some economics. I'm in the 2nd year.
Nice one. How many years do you have to go?
It depends on how much I will choose to study and if I will choose to do another degree. But I hope 2 years maybe or less.
Okay. Good stuff. Lovely. Thanks. So tell us about the group. How long is what's the group called, and how long has it been running?
So it's called the Achva Gea, which can, I guess, translate to gay brotherhood in a way. And I think actually it's taking its name from the how do you call that, sororities or
fraternities? Yes.
I think that's like where they thought about it from. At first, one of the guys, I guess it's a group that founded it, but one of them is it's called Erez, and I'm familiar with him. I met him when I was my first year in university, and it started just like separated groups in a few universities, and then I think it was 6 years ago that they joined forces to make something that is national. And that's when they gave this name, the Achva.
Okay, so it's a relatively new thing. I thought it'd been going longer than that. Okay, nice one. And so it's across multiple universities. How many universities does it cover?
More than 30 around the country.
Fantastic. Okay, so there are LGBT organizations at more than 30 universities. Good stuff. Wonderful. So what are your roles in the group?
Sorry, again?
What's your roles? What do you do?
So I think the role is changing throughout the years. And every year we think what's the expectation and what are the needs at this exact moment. And I can tell that I feel that we play lots of roles as we consider the needs of the community. So maybe one main role is to produce events and weekly meetings, where the weekly meetings is mostly for LGBT or allies that want a secure place to meet each other, feel a safe zone that can be yourself in and meet others like you, and not feel alone and make connections. And then we also make big events that we want to reach all the students in the university and raise awareness for LGBT and the issues and how we can be more LGBT friendly in a way, and why are we not equal at the moment in the country and how we want to change that.
Okay.
And also we serve as a help if there's any LGBT student who has some harassment or anything that's like he feels that it's been ignored, his needs. So we try to progress that and help him with the university officials. And I can also tell about a project we ran this year, a very big one, about mapping all the gender neutral toilets all over the university. Because there was some like initiatives in this building or that building, but it was never centralized. So we mapped all those all together and have like a map that you can just go online to the university site and see. And actually the COVID-19 just stopped us like at publishing that. We were just about to publish when everybody was sent home. And
Wonderful.
we decided we'll wait for the return of the students to do that launch, I guess.
Fantastic. Okay.
So
That's a
speaking
great
of the
initiative.
bureaucratic projects we do, we also, in addition to the project of mapping the toilet without a gender, we did a project of mapping all kinds of forms. The form you have to fill in order to register the university, in order to register the dorms, to get scholarships, etc. And we want to edit them, to ask to edit them so that it will be more friendly to gay people. For example, the gender question, and the parents, there is the name of the mother and the name of the father, and we want it to be the parent name, parent one and parent two. We have all kinds of other little projects that.
Fantastic. Okay. Great idea. Cool. What else I wanted to ask you? So can you tell us a little bit more about the events? You mentioned that you do a range of events. So it's social events for people that are new to the university, I guess, for the first years. You do events for them.
So we have weekly events, which are, I call it for the core group, which are about 20 students in average. And we try to make those events in two types that is alternating between the weeks. One type is more educational, inspirational events that we try to bring some new content that is LGBT related and do like a shared learning, something very similar to a youth movement activities and workshops. And the other week, it's something more of a mingling environment that it's more freely and everybody can just come and meet their friends and talk more about something that was interested last week or they thought about they wanted to share. And those are like the base. And from there, we try to go with this group, with those core 20 people, and think together what interests them, what they would like to do, and try to offer our resources because we're connected to the university. So it's also funding and it's also producing and communicating with all kinds of people around the university to make those things happen. And a lot of projects came birth that way with those people. And that's one of the mottos. It's like the LGBT group is what you make from it. It's not something that we decide. I feel maybe in English, I think you can use the word facilitator. Maybe that's how we view it.
Nice. Okay.
Some examples are we did a big drag event, and people performed drag themselves, and it was great. And we did an evening of playing games and the theater class and all kinds of social things.
Nice. Okay. Does Tel Aviv University attract a lot of overseas students?
Yes.
What students?
Students from overseas.
Students from abroad.
Yeah.
So actually, that's a challenging point for us, as there are LGBT students that come from abroad and are interested also in taking part of the activities. And then there's the language barrier. And if we make this activity where everybody is expected to share a lot about their personal experience, it's an issue to ask to share that in a foreign language, especially for those who are not feeling comfortable with that. So, for example, what we ended up doing last year is that we opened up a separate WhatsApp group in English for the LGBT students and made some English-speaking events, or either English or Hebrew, like the mingling events that I mentioned. It's easier to make it bilingual and allow people to choose whatever language they like. And that was actually run by a girl named Bar last year, and she ran it amazingly. This year, everybody, all the students from overseas changed. They came only for one semester, or not for a year. And I didn't make it to make this group come alive again with new students, and it's hard to reach them in a way. It's less established, but I hope that next year we'll get that ongoing again.
Good stuff. Nice one. Do you find a lot of people at university, I mean, this is Israel, so I guess most of the people that come to university have already done their army service, but are there people that come to university and this is their chance for the first time to come out of the closet?
Maya, do you want to share?
Yes, there are many people who come after the army, and some are not. I think most of the people in the Achva already came out of the closet, but there are some that haven't yet, and I find that they are the people who that the Achva is most helping them. I think the Achva is significant to all the people who keep coming, but the people who are still in the closet are having a harder time, and they find a place in the Achva that they can be who they are.
Fantastic.
And maybe I can add from my medical point of view, is I feel that this group, the LGBT group in Achva, is the first chance to get some medical LGBT-related health issues talked about and addressed. Because if at the where they come from at their schools, it wasn't talked about, and then in the army it's not allowed to be talked about, and if now this is our last chance, because if it's not me to tell them about how to work safe and harm reduction and what PrEP is, then they will maybe hear about it in the one kind of dating app or another, but not maybe in the way that I look at them and put the person as my priority and their safety.
Nice one. Yeah, wonderful. I was seeing earlier today there are good health checks that the LGBT centres around the country do. I know on Sundays, I think in Jerusalem, the Open House does anonymous HIV testing, and I think the other the other centers in Tel Aviv and Beersheba. Maybe it's Beersheba, and Haifa also did the same thing. So those are great services, really important things for people to know that are available. Wonderful stuff. What else did I want to ask you about? So if anyone is interested in studying, I mean, there are people that come from overseas, as you said, and want to come to the university. I mean, what's the best place to go? How do people, apply? Do you know about that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so if you want to arrive, it depends first if you want to come for like one semester or it's a whole program. And I think almost for every school, like med school or the biology or every school in the university has an international program in it. You cannot, it's not, all the programs are opened and for the international, especially because of the English language barrier. But there's always some. And the website of Tel Aviv University in English I think is great and is very informative. So it's always just going online and applying for the university. And afterwards, I think maybe it's that time to contact us and tell us they're coming and let us try and help get them along. Especially getting an apartment here is very complicated. So we can help getting them to the right Facebook groups and get some tips how to accommodate.
Nice one. Excellent. I also wanted to ask you about Pride. We heard last week that unfortunately all the major Pride marches in Israel have been cancelled this year, or at the very least postponed until the end of summer because of the pandemic. So, Tel Aviv, Haifa, Jerusalem and Beersheba have cancelled their traditional Pride marches. What's Pride traditionally been like at Tel Aviv University? How's it celebrated at the uni?
We usually do a big Pride event at about June, and last year we did a big one, and a few hundred students arrived and participated. We got the central place, and we ran music and all kinds of activities. We also did the discussion groups. All kinds of people talked from different identities. People could ask questions, and the two trans women told the stories in details. It was very, I think, interesting and raised the awareness. This year, unfortunately, we can't have this event, so we had to cancel our plans, but we're trying to do it in an alternative way. We have the Zoom meetings, the regular Zoom meetings, but we want to do something that is bigger. I hope we will manage to make something significant still, even though there are the restrictions.
Cool. Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that maybe, cafes and restaurants will be open again by then, that people will be comfortable moving around, and so we'll be able to get groups of people together. Maybe not huge groups, but, at least we'll be able to have some groups together, as long as people keep their distance and keep their masks on and everything. Good stuff. I wanted to ask, are there any questions from anyone out there? Barry, can you unmute yourself? We can't hear you.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
Yep. So I'm wondering whether you communicate with any other countries, any groups like yours at universities in other countries for ideas, find out what they're doing. I mean, especially when you start talking about Pride, they're going to have really similar issues. It doesn't matter that you're Israel and they're the US, or I'm in the US, by the way, but I'm not a university student. You may be interesting to do that if you have a way to link up with those groups.
So the National Achba is starting this day a little project of pen pals with a similar organization for LGBT students in Britain, but it's just the beginning now. So There isn't a lot of things to say. The idea is to match an Israeli student and a British student, and so they can be friends online, and do also some group meetings between the two organizations.
Nice.
Right.
Barry just brought a question to my mind as well. Are there courses for mature students at the university?
Other courses of what?
For mature students.
Like me, he means.
People that come back to education later in life, maybe a couple of years later.
I'm trying to think. There's some, I don't think about courses. I know about some lectures for alumni that they run. I get an invite because I'm basically an alumni of my bachelor's, so I get those that they run a monthly event in a big auditorium where they bring like very famous alumni that have achieved something in life for like a 45 minutes event, and I think there's 2 of them every time.
Nice.
That's very interesting. At least for me, it was very interesting to hear. And they moved that as well to Zoom nowadays. But it's possibly it sounds makes sense that they have some program like that.
I think they have something called studying in Gilman. Gilman is the name of a building. Yeah, mature students come and have some specific courses for them, but I don't know much about it.
Okay.
Can I just add to that conversation that it was just a year and a half ago that I spent a month at Hebrew University in their winter ulpan studying Hebrew, and it was, I mean, it was mostly. There was nothing about the course that was geared to any age group. It was mostly younger people. There were a few of us mature students. And that's probably, the same. I'm sure that mature students can enroll in courses in Tel Aviv as well.
Fantastic. All right. Are there any other things that we haven't thought about that you want to tell us about the university? It's your opportunity to tell us just how fabulously queer it is.
So yeah, I'd like to draw maybe a more complex image of the university. I'm thinking about some of the experience we had throughout the year. On one end, for example, a really good relationship with the person in charge of any sexual harassment or any issues like that. So we worked really closely together. Anything that we need from her, she's very helpful, and she helped us adding slides about how to be more LGBT aware as part of like a global training that everybody in the university goes for, and we did some publication about. But then we had, for example, an issue where the Israeli Minister of Education talked homophobically, I guess that's the simplest I can make it. And many universities went against that, where Tel Aviv University did not. And maybe Maya, you can share that we went and tried to talk to them about that. And it actually went to a meeting with the university rector and president. And they are one of our, actually the one that facilitates us in the LGBT group also came, because like very high rank meeting. And I think that's like where we got through this barrier. And it was a really, really good meeting, and that we were able to explain how meaningful it is for us and why we need university to back us. And he was very supportive at that meeting, and he agreed with everything we asked for.
Fantastic.
And he said he would support us in any projects that we do, like the ones we talked about for the gender neutral toilets or the forms. So I think maybe sometimes, like at first, you would think, oh, why they not react? Maybe it's a silent agreement, but then it only takes like this courage step and a few emails sent, and to realize that there's somebody there who just would like to listen and just not aware, but they do care about it.
Absolutely. It's important that organizations take a stand. There was, within the last few days, there was a rabbi that made some homophobic comments. I can't remember his name, and even if I did, I wouldn't want to give him any free advertising. But apparently the mayor of Ramat Gan has now decided that they're going to fly a rainbow flag outside of Pride Month. They're going to raise the flag for a month, just so that the conversation is still had and the comments that this rabbi made aren't forgotten and just brushed under the carpet. So it's important that people in these positions of power, say the right things and make the right noises and do the right thing to make sure that we have their support.
That's great.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, wonderful. Do we have any other questions?
I can't think of a question. This is really interesting. I'm finding it really interesting.
Lovely. All right. Fantastic. So I think we'll wrap it up then. Thank you very much to Eyal and Maya for joining us this week.
Thank you.
It's been great to have you on. Next week, we have a couple of people from IGI, which is Israel's LGBT youth organization, national youth organization for LGBT youth. So we'll be here 8 p.m. That's GMT +3, 8 p.m. To talk to them. All right. So thanks very much for joining us. We'll be uploading this video onto Facebook, so it'll be available for however long Facebook lasts. All right. So thanks everyone for joining us, and have a great night. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
You too.
You.
All. I mean,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye.